Hey guys, welcome to another video, and today we're doing an update on the Hilux, which I'm super excited about. Now this one's going to be a little bit different because I didn't film this video. I dropped the car off at Damon's house, so he's filming, he's editing, he's going to be in front of the camera. So I thought I'd do a bit of an intro, just explaining why it's not me in the video and why it's him. He's doing a whole bunch of stuff. He's notching the chassis at the rear, he's putting the roll cage in, he's installing the seats, hydraulic handbrake, fuel system for the turbo, wastegate pipe out the fender, amongst a bunch of other stuff to make this car driftable. Tonight the Hilux goes on the dyno, so I should be able to upload that video either tomorrow or on Friday. Obviously this weekend we go drifting, so we've got a lot of content coming out, which is wicked. But without further ado, enjoy this update of the Hilux.
So I thought we'd jump onto the worst job, try and get that rear chassis sorted so we can actually have some type of suspension travel without it smacking into the diff. So I've started already. As you can see, we got lock set up here, got my MIG outside. What the plan is if you can see, I've chopped out a bit of the tub. I'm gonna weld, probably not the best way to do it, like a proper scene channel, we actually make plates that come up and go properly, but for this purpose, it's not going on the road again, so we're just doing it the quick way because we've got a week and a bit to be at the track. I'm just going to weld this box in, plate the ends, and then if you can see there's lines here, cut them out so that when the diff comes up, because at the moment the diff's sitting on here, so I'm hoping that getting this much more travel out of it should make it a bit better to drive. Well, that's the plan to start off with at least, so start welding this up. So now that that's welded all the way around, we can start chopping out this section for the diff. It's not ideal here because I can't turn my MIG all the way up because it trips the circuit breaker of the house. So got it as hot as I can for now and sort of have to just sort of stitch it in. Still, for what it is, should be heap strong enough, and I'll put some more plates in and bits and bobs, so try and strengthen it up. Wait till you move on. Alright, so there's the passenger side done. We've still got to tie it up a bit. You can see there, it's all notched out here. So got to plate the insides up and maybe run a couple of supports down here, sort of down here, another support down here, just to sort of, just in case it does get hit or it doesn't want to twist, but it's not too much load behind it, but still enough that we want to strengthen it up. It's starting to get dark and also sprinkle rain, so we'll pack it up here and jump on again tomorrow night. Oof, there it is. So I threw on this titanium intake that I had lying around. Yeah, I know, right? Titanium intake lying around. Well, it was actually stolen off another car project that's on build, so that's right. It's been donated to a good cause. One thing was the wastegate had no plumbing, so I just sort of went into the engine bay. So we thought best option would be just to stick it straight out the guard. There we go. So that's all done. Alright, so as you can see, we've finished welding this up. I cleaned all the edges up with a flapper disc, so had to make this bit a bit bigger on this side, so I'd extend the notch that way just to allow for the shackles on the diff. So this side's done and this side's done as well. So I'll jack the diff up now and show you what I mean about how we've now made more clearance for the suspension travel. So I've jacked up the diff a bit just so we can roughly see, but as you can see here, we've got the diff. As you can see here, we've got the diff, and that chassis used to go straight across here, so we've got only about, I think it's 20-25 mil of travel for the suspension, so pretty much the smallest bump would cause the axle, the diff, to hit the rail here, but now we've got all this room here, so hopefully that's given us enough suspension travel that should be able to increase the performance and handling. So it's back on the ground, chassis is notched, so I was jumping in the tub, didn't have any clearance issues, so oof, look at that, it's sitting pretty now. It's Saturday and I'm back on the Hilux build, so I've spent the morning bending up the cage and cutting up tubes and whatnot, so just had some lunch. Now it's started the Arvo and getting the cage welded together. As you can see here, we got main hoop all bent up, we got a diagonal, and the legs are chopped up as well. So I think we're gonna start welding this up and then throw it in the car. So that's all the main hoop welded up, the diagonal now. So that's all welded in. Time to throw it in the car and start getting it welded to the floor. So after smashing out all of the tar, just welded in these foot boxes just to set the cage on, so they're stitched in the bottom. Bit of 50 by 100 by 3 RHS with the plates welded in. The reason we went this option instead of just doing straight plates on the floor is because what we've made the main hoop out of was actually a bit of offcut from a previous job. So we're trying to get this Hilux sort of as affordable, as cheap, not saying cheap, but like just saving money where we can. So when we've done the main hoop, it was a bit of leftovers, and I think it come in about 50 mil too short with like the overall section. So we've just made some rocker boxes, just to, they get stitched in, caged on that and gets welded to that. So that to go ahead and throw the hoop in and start welding that up. Alright, so now we've got the cage tacked in, just slightly, so we can move it around and we can try and square it up. This here, probably the most handiest tool you can get if you're doing any fabrication. It's a digital inclinometer. So it's like, just pretty much gyroscope in it, checks angles and all that sort of stuff. So it can be used for squaring up hoops and, well, whatever really. So got a little gauge here. So with the inclinometer, what you normally do is you'll find the angle of the side of your window, or wherever. Normally you go with your B-pillar or the side of the window just so it looks nice. Zero it, there we go, and bring it down to the side of your cage here. See, we're about 1.5 degrees off, and that's to the back, so we'll just twist it back a little bit. So I've just been tilting it back, and now we're about spot on. So from here I'll do a few more tacks and weld the hoop in. So now we've got the main hoop welded into the foot boxes. So that's all sturdy now. She ain't going nowhere. I've gone in, stitch in a few rear plates for the back legs. So I'll go cut some of the back legs up and start notching them out. Alright, so there's the first leg done. Got an angle for our back bit and scallop for the main hoop. So let's go and test fit it up and tack it in if it fits. So here we have the leg tacked in, it's scalloped up out there. We've got our angle for the bottom foot plate here. So there's one, all tacked in, and it's welded up. So we've got Nikki in here, sticker bombing the cage. Just going nuts with like, how many stickers you got?
Oh, like 100?
100.
Heaps.
Cool. Yeah, anyway. Got the first leg welded in. There we go. All welded in. And we'll start chopping up the second one to be put in. So we got the second bar all notched out to fit in here. So we'll go ahead and weld this one in. Alright, so that's Saturday done. Had the Arvo to get the cage done. So as you can see, most of the all the cages welded in all the way. Just painted the rocker boxes just so they don't rust there where they're going through the floor. Nikki's finishing off her sticker bomb job on the diagonal on the cage. So yeah, I'm ready to go. Tomorrow night, just heading to the workshop, my family's workshop, so we can start doing more mechanical things, get the fuel system sorted. We've got to weld the diff, got to throw a new center bearing in, a bunch of little bits and bobs like that, and then we can chuck it on the dyno and start giving it some beans. So here she is, cage is in, It's got the ready for the hydro. Tomorrow night, before I chuck on the trailer, I'll probably weld the hydro mount in. A few other bits and bobs, but she's getting there. I think she's going to rip. Alright, see you next time.